Raya and the Last Dragon is finally here. I've been excited for this movie since the first trailer dropped, and I'm here to give you guys my spoiler-free review. Long ago in the fantasy world of Kumandra, humans and dragons lived together in harmony, but when sinister monsters known as the Drun threatened their land, the dragons sacrificed themselves to save humanity. Now, 500 years later, those same monsters have returned, and it's up to a lone warrior to track down the last dragon and stop the Drun for good. So, starting off with the good of this movie, the first thing I want to talk about is the layered characters. Now, a lot of animated movies nowadays are just black and white characters. Each character might have a basic perception as to what they look like on the outside, but each character has a deeper meaning on their inside, whether it's through lost family members or what the Drun has done to them specifically. Like I mentioned before, everyone shares a common tragedy, and this is one big reoccurring theme that goes on throughout this movie. In order for Raya to genuinely work with these other characters, she has to understand them on a deeper level. She doesn't just go up to random people and say, come with me, you're mine, I'm stealing you, and we're gonna go find this last dragon and defeat the Drun. Moving past the layered characters, I want to talk about the dragon Sisu. So Sisu is the last dragon. It's said in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. I don't have much to say about the character. She's just a great character overall and brings a lot of light to any dark situation inside of this completely torn world that Raya and the Last Dragon takes place in. I don't really mention this in the good, but the animation is always good. I really feel like I have no need to mention it. They had a completely different style than they did in Soul, and it didn't disappoint. So moving on to the action, now this was definitely my favorite part of the entire movie. So the choreography was absolutely insane. Like, when I tell you guys you need to watch this movie just for the choreography, the action choreography itself, I'm not even lying. Whether it was hand-to-hand combat or sword combat, everything felt so smooth. The fighting was super on beat and it flowed really well with the score and the timing of each battle. In my opinion, this movie definitely has one of the best fight scenes in any animated movie, and I can honestly compare the choreography to any live action movie as well. The fight scenes in this movie were versatile, dynamic, and they were well balanced on both sides, and it still managed to be family friendly. I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but the director joked about making these scenes rated R just because of how vigorous this hand-to-hand and sword combat is. Obviously he was still joking, but you can definitely tell in the sword-to-sword combat, whereas if they did this kind of combat in live action, they could have definitely had the potential for it to be rated R. The final thing I want to talk about in the good is definitely just the third act in general. In the third act, kind of going off of the combat, we see real punches that are thrown. We see real impacts off of the fighting. Because, usually in animated movies, it's just like little blasts and stuff like that. For example, in Big Hero 6, you don't really see any pain. But I feel like when you see hand-to-hand combat, when you see someone getting punched in the face, I feel like you can feel it yourself. I think they chose the perfect move by kind of eliminating swords towards the end of the movie and kind of going more towards hand-to-hand combat, because honestly it just feels a little bit more personal. As it is in every Disney animated movie, the emotional torment starts to happen towards the ending and in the third act specifically. We start to learn and care about each character's values and morals, and as each character starts to do something to kind of impact the ending of the movie, I'm not going to say exactly what because I don't want to spoil it, I feel like you genuinely start to emotionally get drained out because you care so much about these characters. You've learned so much about them over the course of the movie, and there's just nothing you can really do to step away from that. It's just basically inevitable. They did a great job of making me care about each and every single one of the characters that they presented, whether it was in the very beginning of the movie or maybe 2 scenes before the final battle. The third act did a great job of closing off Raya's story arc. And finally, the true side of all of the characters come out at the end of the episode. We see the ones who will sacrifice their life for everything. They go through all of these emotions together, and you can genuinely tell that they've created a family of heroes. And no, it's not a family of people with superpowers, but it's a family of people who care about each other and use their morals as a weapon. That might make no sense to you right now, but go watch the movie and you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright, so now to talk about the bad of the movie. I didn't really have anything bad to say about the movie in general. I only had one little thing, which was the story and the childish humor don't match at all for me. Now, to me, this makes sense at a certain degree because the story feels like it's meant for such an older group of kids that they kind of had to make the humor tailored towards a lot younger kids. And it makes sense just for the balance of being a Disney and animated movie. But personally, that's just something I wasn't the biggest fan of, because at times times it does get really cheesy and corny, but you have to remember, it is a kid's movie. My final verdict of this movie is that I went into this movie with very high expectations. I've been super hyped for this movie since the trailer release, and honestly, it hit home on every single possible cylinder. Whether it was combat, emotion, or characters, it did everything perfectly and nothing disappointed, except for some of the jokes, of course. I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was super solid, and I definitely think that you guys should go check it out if you have the chance. And yeah, guys, that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to drop a like rating down below. Share with your friends if you did enjoy. We're on the road to 100 subs, so if you guys haven't already hit the subscribe button, make sure you do so. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.